Hi, my name is Dee Dee Caldwell. I am president and founding principal of Global Location Strategies in Greenville, South Carolina. Global Location Strategies is a full service location strategy advisory firm. We do site selection and incentive negotiations for corporations, particularly manufacturing corporations that are looking for places to build new capacity. And we also do work with economic development organizations on making their locations more competitive when recruiting these types of investments. So in 2019, we also founded a technology company in order to bring the science of site selection to everyone by making it collaborative and online through a software application called Site Shepherd. And Site Shepherd are the data analytics that we use in our practice in order to determine the best location for manufacturing facilities. And that is three components, really. One of them is a fatal flaw analysis to make sure that locations, be they communities, sites, buildings, meet the must criteria for any given project. And then we do a quality analysis, which is a weighted comparative scoring of those locations, and a cost analysis, where we look at things like investment cost, operating costs, ESG costs, and also revenue associated with these locations so that we can better understand what the trade-off is for cost and quality for every location. So there's no perfect location, but the best location is the one that has the best trade-off between high quality and low cost. And that is what Site Shepherd helps us understand. Essentially, it helps us get to the short list quickly. So we might be looking at dozens of locations. And Site Shepherd takes in all of those analytics and helps us quickly get down to the ones that have those attributes, which are high quality and low cost. So we started working with Copus after working with another software firm for about 18 months. And I have to say that when we started working with Copus, it was a breath of fresh air. The process was just so much easier than what we had experienced previously. We spent a lot of time developing the concept and really understanding what we wanted to, where we wanted to end up. So we started with the end in mind, and then we divided the project into different chunks so that we could do more of an iterative process where Copus would develop a piece of the functionality that we wanted. We would test that, make sure that it met our needs. We would implement that, and then we would move on to the next piece. And so by doing this, we really understood all along exactly what we were going to be getting, as opposed to designing something to the nth detail up front and then having the software developers go away and then not really knowing exactly what we were going to get back. So I think that process worked really well for us. We were able to control budget. We were able to control scope. We were able to control functionality as we went through the process, which was great for us. So I am a entrepreneur. I know how to run a consulting business, but I really did not have any experience at all being a tech entrepreneur, and I don't know anything about developing applications. My desire was really to develop something that would make us a lot more efficient, and then also be able to share that experience with some of our clients and with others that aren't site selection consultants. And so I really leaned on Copus to be able to bring that technology and that capability to the front, but I really had to trust that they were going to take my vision and translate that into a software application. And that's exactly what we've done. And it's been a really fantastic outcome. So several years ago, we brought a consultant in to look at our business processes. And we found out that we were just spending an inordinate amount of time just manipulating data. So we would receive information from communities or real estate representatives, and we had multiple models that we had to copy and paste it into. Nothing was very automated, and it was just really bogging down the entire process. So this consultant first looked for something on the market that we could purchase and potentially modify in order to meet our needs, and we just were not having any luck finding what we wanted. So it was at that point that we decided we were going to have to create it ourselves. And the science of site selection has been around for decades. Global location strategies in some form or fashion has been around since the early 1970s. And it was very frustrating for me that looking around and you see how technology has transformed so many other industries. I mean, how we buy homes, how we go on vacation, how we get our entertainment, how we get our news. But it really had not transformed the industry that I was involved in, which is corporate location decision making. And so I just decided that, now was the time. I think what holds us back in this particular industry is scale, because rather than millions of decisions being made every year, there's, a few 20 or 30,000, which is still a lot, but it's not as the same as how many homes are bought in the US, for example. And so what had been holding us back was scale and then the cost to develop these types of platforms. And as that cost has gone down, it made sense that this was the right time to be able to do something like this. I think anytime you go into a venture like this, particularly in an area where I'm just completely out of my comfort zone, I was nervous about it. And it's not a small investment. And so I just wanted to make sure that I was going to see the return. We absolutely have seen the return. We are able to turn around reports and analyses for our clients much more quickly than we were in the past. And it gives us the ability to focus on the things that are really important as opposed to dealing with wrangling data and making sure that the scoring scales are working and all of that. So we can really step back and have more time to take a look at the big picture. So really my only concern was just making sure that, we were going to see the return, because it was not, it was a commitment for me from a financial standpoint. But it's really paid off in spades at this point. So before we had this system in place, we had to spend a lot of time gathering information from different locations, and then taking that information from spreadsheets or from online sources and copying and pasting it into various analytical models. So the MUS model, the want model, or the comparative weighted scoring model, and the financial models. And anytime one piece of data changed, it had to be changed in multiple places. Now that data is collected in one central location and it populates all of those models. So if we change a piece of data in one place, it's going to roll through the entire system and make those updates automatically. So that has been just a huge time savings, and also just the making sure that the data is accurate and that there's some integrity to that data. That has changed a lot. And it's really, we can do more with less people. And we can also use that extra time to go back and double check things like, does that piece of data make sense? Not is the data input directly or correctly into each one of these models, but is there something that sort of looks awry? Because the model's only going to be as good as the data that you put into it. And when you're trying so desperately to get everything done before a deadline, then you might miss something that looks sort of awry. So now we've got the ability to kind of stand back and make sure that the data integrity is solid. I mean, working with the Copus team has just been such a delight. I really didn't know what to expect. And like I said, I was completely in uncharted territory for me. And Copus has a great system that they use where we have a project manager, we have an account manager, and then we have the development team, which is led by one person. And so depending on how hot and heavy we were in the development process, we would have either a call every week or every 2 weeks to just review where we are. That way, I always understood exactly what was being done, how far along in the process we were to meeting our next milestone, where we were tracking according to the hours and the cost associated with that, so that there were really no surprises. I mean, I was very, very impressed with how well the development lead and also the project manager would work together in order to estimate any new features or any modifications that we wanted to make, so that I could make those decisions based on how much it was going to cost and how much return I thought I was going to get out of that. So I think the level of communication has been really outstanding. And the fact that I have had one lead from the development side for this entire process really means that nothing gets lost in the cracks. So I feel very, very secure knowing exactly what I have in the software and then what it's going to take to get me to the next level. I think one of the things that you really need to do is make sure you know exactly what the objective is. What are you trying to accomplish? And, we help companies make decisions all the time. And it's kind of like if you don't know what you need, then any solution will get you the answer. So if you start out by really defining exactly what you're trying to accomplish and set real metrics there, then it makes it easier to sit down with the COPUS team to design something that will help you achieve those objectives. So just really putting in the time up front to understand what your objectives are. And then think about, what are all the different ways that you can achieve those objectives. I mean, a new software application might be the right answer for some people, but for other people, there might be something that you can buy. But if you really, sit down and understand what those objectives are at the beginning, then you'll be able to evaluate what the potential solutions are. And just like with locations, you're going to want to make the decision that has the best trade-off between cost and quality. So the best solution is going to be the one that is the lowest cost for the highest quality or the highest return. But you may have to decide, what are the cost parameters that you can really undertake, and what's the optimal trade-off for you. So one piece of advice I would have is that just because you haven't dealt with software before, or you're not comfortable being branching out into developing new technology, you really shouldn't let that stop you. There are the experts there that can help you translate your concepts and your ideas into reality through technology, through code, through software applications. And you don't have to be an expert in that in order to be successful. You just really have to have the right partner. And I think the right partner is someone that you can trust, someone that will give you consistency, someone that will be very transparent with you about what the possible options are, and can help you chart that path to actually get there. So I would just say, don't be too intimidated by it if this isn't necessarily your field. I think someone like COPUS, and I would highly recommend COPUS, can help you achieve your goals without you having to become proficient in a particular technology or even hire somebody full-time on your staff. I think one of the things that we considered too was potentially bringing someone to be able to develop our software. But the challenge with that is that you don't get the breadth of experience that you would have if you work with a software developer that has multiple people on staff, all with each with their own capabilities and expertise. So by working with COPUS, we were able to leverage the knowledge and expertise of several different people and developers on their staff. So, for example, somebody that can focus on UI and UX, and someone that can focus on the Power BI integrations. So if you have one person on staff that you're dealing with, and you won't necessarily, that person is not going to have capabilities in the wide breadth of things that someone like COPUS can bring.